All right, this is Jurassic James. I'm here in Doling Bowl with Dr. Jim Kirkland. He invited me out here for like 4 days, which I had 4 days. He invited for 2 weeks, but I had short time.
Sure.
Thank you for having me. First and foremost, for the group, who are you?
Well, I'm Dr. Jim Kirkland, state paleontologist for the state of Utah with the Utah Geological Survey. So I give out the permits to researchers that are qualified to work on state lands and its subdivisions, like the cities and counties as well. But we're on federal land here, and we're working on these sites in this immediate area on federal permits, Bureau of Land Management permits.
Yes. So thank you. And so the idea here is you're somebody that I follow on TV, and I read papers, and I read books, and I see your name. Like you're ubiquitous. You help everybody. Why do you do that?
Well, basically, I was 5 years old when I started being interested in dinosaurs. I was a kid walking down the street. Oh, there's Jamie Kirkland. Come over here. Ask him about dinosaurs. He'll tell you anything you want to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I was that kid. You all know a couple of them here and there. There's one or two.
In the area,
And basically, I was 5 telling people I'm going to be a paleontologist when I grow up. And people all my life said, you'll never make a living doing that. There's no future in it. Well, for me, I've had a good future. I've been hunting dinosaurs in this region, the southwestern United States and Mexico and China and Spain and Portugal and Mongolia for over 50 years. And I've had a fabulous life. You can do this. And there's lots of ways to skin a cat. You don't have to just be a state paleontologist. You can be a museum curator. You can prepare the fossils in their laboratory, take the rock off the bone. You can be a field specialist, mapping the quarry. You can be a paleo artist, reconstructing these bones. The animals, putting the flesh back on the animals. You can be a mechanic, designing, things like our shade tarp system out there at the quarry, which, we had a big fail today, but, that happens under the best of circumstances when the winds pick up. But there's not a human endeavor where you can't contribute to paleontology, and volunteering is fun. But people say, okay, what good is it? The good of it is we learn about the history of the planet. We're working on rocks here that represent a 45 million year record that we didn't know existed in North America in one complete, well-datable sequence. That's like 2/3 of the entire age of mammals that we didn't know, and now we're having a record, and people will be working on this long after I'm dead and gone. The kids that might be watching this, hey, I hope you carry on, because there's going to be a lot of discoveries to be made in this region. But it's never ending. But why is it really valuable? It gets kids excited about science and learning, and that the world is bigger than their backyard. I always tell folks that, dinosaur paleontology and space, science are like the two biggest hooks for kids into science. And for our entire society, we need this. Dinosaur paleo hooks you in for all areas of biology, geology, natural history. I've met dozens and dozens of doctors over my career. When I was a kid, I first started getting into biology because I got interested in dinosaurs. You go ask your doctor, were you interested in dinosaurs as a kid? You'll find a big bunch of them started as kids being interested in dinosaurs, and they got them on the track to learn more about science, biology, anatomy, etc. And that's exciting. That's where we contribute more to everyone in this country personally. But learning about the history of our planet and telling you guys about the history of our planet, that's also gold. It's an incredible history our planet has. And, the experiments on what happens when you poke the earth here, what happens with the result. Yeah. These experiments have been run repeatedly through the geologic record. So we can tell you what's going to happen if we do certain things. And that's worth knowing.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. And I've been preaching that message to you guys too. I'm like, this is very important. Look at the, But the main thing I want to point out too is I think I friend you on Facebook, and then on Blue Sky, and you messaged me want to come dig with us.
Sure.
And me as a kid in Texas, in Houston, I'm like, the great, I know you're not that way, but the great Jim Kirkland has reached out to me. I have to go. And I was like, what would make you do that for just...
Well, you're a major outreach person in Houston, Texas, fourth largest city in the United States. And we need people talking to the people that give us these jobs. And I wouldn't have a job if the public didn't care about this stuff and want to know more about it. And you're my voice. You're my mouthpiece to the public. And that makes you vitally important to the science of paleontology. And in our nation in general, getting kids excited about learning and science. There's nothing more important. So, I see what you've been doing, and I've been, watching this stuff and saying, yeah, hey, come on out and see what we're doing. And tell your, kids this and the people in your neighborhood. It's like, yeah, this is neat. Come on out. We should be doing things.
Yeah, I have so much content now.
Yeah.
Just 4 days alone. Like, I'm looking forward to going back and editing and, everything. You picked off the spot for a reason.
Well, basically, we've been talking, you've talked a little bit, we've talked about these soils.
Yes.
And that, not too far, we're a little bit higher above, we're not too far above the quarry level here, but we're a little bit above. And below we have these soils that suggest it was very wet at the base of the Cretaceous after this event that killed off all our, our Jurassic Park, Morrison fauna. And as we come up, it gets drier and drier. But right behind us, we have these little gravelly beds. Right at the top, there's a little channel that's coming out of sandstone. Right below it, but there's a bed up here, the calcrete, and that's showing a semi-arid environment, which I used to think was the beginning of the rain shadow of a mountain building episode to the west. But now I'm thinking it's actually the return to normal following this event that killed off all the Jurassic dinosaurs. But that, once again, is my hypothesis. It is my thought. And the job of people who are in science and kids coming up is to prove I'm an idiot. That's what it's all about. It's like I get data, I try to understand what it might be telling us, present my views, and how the data supports this. And people say, well, you missed this data that shows that you're wrong. And that's how science works. If you are doing things that can't be proven wrong, it's not science. Falsifiability, proving that Jim Kirkland was just a babbling idiot, just this walking ego, that's what it's all about. And I'm ready to stand up there in front of the firing squad and, shoot at me, because this is how science is done. We are willing to be shot at. That's how it works. We are willing to put our, beliefs on the line because, we come up to a conclusion, but that's a belief. The fact of these rocks, the bones we're getting out of the ground, those are facts. Yeah. What I say is a hypothesis. It is a thought. I believe something going on. That's not the same thing as that calcrete up there.
Yeah, it's still there no matter what happens.
Yeah, that carbonate, carbonate's a salt. You don't get salt in your soil unless it's dry. Out here in the West, we get lots of what we call alkali every spring. It just comes to the surface, white. That salt's coming up. You don't see that in Houston. It's too wet. But you get more iron-rich soils and things, and that's what we're seeing down low here. And that's chemistry. Chemistry hasn't changed over the years.
Yeah.
The physical things. Life has changed. Climate's changed, but the basic properties of how the universe works hasn't changed.
Yeah.
And we need to plug this stuff into that. And it's fun. The puzzle is fun. Trying to solve the puzzle. It's fun.
It's just like a big mystery, right?
Yeah.
One thing I have to point out too is that I've met many cool people. I mean, obviously you're here, but it's like you're trying to network all of paleontology.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
And it's nothing that we do out here. No one knows everything. I mean, that's the way the world is. I don't care. If you think you know everything, I may disagree with you. But no one knows everything. But a lot of people know a lot of different things. And if we collaborate, we work together, we combine our skills and expertise in various things, we can come up with things that are much greater than any of us can do individually. And I just totally believe that with all my heart and soul. And I try to bring in good scientists that are expert. Karen Poole is a great anatomist, systematist. She works on how animals are related to each other, how you look at the bones and see who the closest relatives. Selena Suarez is coming out later, geochemist. She works on the soils and carbon isotopes and oxygen, tells the temperature of the air, the temperature of the water. Does the water from ice melt or not? You can tell these things. But she's a geochemist. I couldn't tell you, But I work with people that know more than I do, and they make me look good.
And that you do, sir, yes. I will be telling you this story for... you're probably already. When Jim Kirkland first invited me, and what you're doing, because people need to know. And like I said, every day we're going to work, we're going to school, we're doing our thing, and they don't understand this long story, so we're doing it for them.
Yeah.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, outreach. I've published 100 scientific papers. Most of you would just look at these things and shake your head. You like the pictures. I photograph a lot of dinosaurs, bones and things. But, basically I get it, I write about all kinds of topics related to this stuff. Lots of deep data. And we need people to tell the stories. I convinced this woman, Krista Sadler, recently to write a book about these rocks, because no one has ever written a book about what we've been finding. We've been working on this stuff for 35 years, and we need something to tell the public, what's going on. And she's putting the first popular book ever done on these rocks and what the beginning of the Cretaceous was like following this mass extinction at the end of the Jurassic, which most everyone doesn't think. There was a mass extinction, at the end of the Jurassic. Yeah, that's how we got rid of Jurassic Park. Made way for the good Cretaceous stuff.
Yeah. Clear the board, basically.
Clear the board. And only a couple things, I think, survived. I think everything went out, all the dinosaurs. And most of the things we see here have their relations in Europe.
Yeah.
They're island hopping across the proto-North Atlantic, which is exciting. And we have a record here that exists nowhere else in North America. I was joking once that we don't have just the oldest dinosaur fauna in North America. We have the 2 oldest. Now we have the 5 to 7 oldest dinosaur faunas in North America. This story is just growing so much as we work on it. It's just, 100 years from now, people are going to be knowing things that I would give anything to know now. It's just the future. Work to be done. But, filling these things in. Krista's, she's, the Kirkland whisperer. Telling folks, okay, let me translate what Jim is saying here. And I recommend everyone look up that book, Dinosaur Frontier, because I really do. I think she did a good job, and I hope there'll be future books on this stuff. But it's in none of the literature, anything you ever read in any of your libraries. There's nothing on this stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's why when we were in Permian Fest in June of this year, and I remember meeting for the first time and seeing your talk, and it was about all of this, and I remember just I was so excited because in my own talks, I'm like, this is an area we're not sure about. And then you're like, here it is, all laid out. I was like, what? Someone already did it? And I knew.
Well, I haven't. We've laid out a framework.
Yeah, but even then, for somebody, even like me, who's looking into this, I didn't realize it was how much you had done.
Yeah. Well, the end of next month, I'm going to be in Germany presenting this at the 12th International Cretaceous Symposium.
Yeah.
And it'll be the first time where I'm really presenting our data on the Jurassic Cretaceous faunal turnover and the incredible record of dinosaurs we have through the Cretaceous of Utah. We're 36 sequential non-overlapping dinosaur faunas in the Cretaceous. It's like, it staggers my mind because I grew up and, we had the late Cretaceous, we had the upper Jurassic. Once in a while they'll talk about Deinonychus, a little one site in the early Cretaceous, and we had Triassic. And that was like it. Yeah. It's like, we have this incredible history of things going on and changing with, these different ecosystems with punctuations based on gigantic volcanic episodes in some case, asteroid impacts in other cases. Maybe things that we're not even imagining right now, causing these big faunal changes that are pretty short term. But there's smaller extinctions through the whole history of dinosaurs that set this up. There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, and a lot to dig. And there's areas you said haven't been explored yet.
Oh, yeah.
New species every dig?
No, Corey's here. There'll probably be dozens of new species out there because that's what we call multi-generic Corey.
Yeah.
So it's not all one kind of dinosaur like the famous, Ceratosaurus, Centrosaurus bone beds up in Dinosaur Provincial Park. These are all kinds of different dinosaurs. And we've got dozens of these little bone beds like this at different levels with different animals, different menageries. As you just keep digging, you keep finding new things. It's really exciting, the future potential. And one of my goals in life, that I won't see in my life, is that our 4 big honey holes of incredible, unique stuff globally that we have here in eastern Utah, the honey holes, not everything, not eastern Utah making a national monument, but just the serious honey holes, dinosaur, dawn of the Cretaceous, fossil beds, national monument. And it's the main honey holes. The Yellow Cat area here, small area like 3 square miles near Green River, Utah. Small area near Price, Utah. It's late algae and the only stuff we have on the continent. And the Mustn't Touch It, which is for the first time Alaska was a land bridge to Asia. And we start getting the origins of our late Cretaceous dinosaurs, the first tyrannosaurs coming back, because they seem to go extinct. We have tyrannosaurs in the Morrison.
Yeah.
They seem to go completely extinct. And if we find one here tomorrow, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But the data so far suggests they go extinct. But they come in from Asia in those beds, so that's the 4th unit. And just under the same management, and not fence it off, but encourage research and interpretation. Major interstate, coast to coast highway I-70 goes right through this stuff. Let people have a chance to see this stuff. See if we can bring in more money than we spend, because nothing exists without that.
Yeah.
But this is globally unique.
Is there anything that they can do, like writing letters to someone to?
Eventually, keep you hear about this in the future. So, we have a senator that suggested that this might be the way to show the Democrats how to make a national monument.
Okay.
And I'm like, yep, sounds good to me.
Yeah. By all means,
do it through Congress, and do it like we have these globally unique things, but we're not, we're just cutting off the areas that are globally unique.
Yeah.
And still like 76 square miles.
Yeah.
But it's spread over 2 counties, and so but it linked under the same management.
Okay.
It saved money too. Instead of 4 parks, have 1 park.
Yeah.
I work for the state of Utah. We're a thrifty state.
Yeah. Okay.
But we know tourism. This is what drives a lot of our stuff forward. Is we have things that people from around the world come to see.
Yeah, I'm here because of that.
Yeah.
One more thing. So at Permian Fest, shout out to the Permian Whiteside Museum, Chris, Holly, Miss Laura. Thank you for inviting us. We met there. I remember it was very nerdy. You said your talk, and I brought you a Jurassic World Utahraptor to sign.
Sure.
And I remember I brought it up, and you're like, "Oh, I've never seen these things," and you were excited. I think you signed it.
It was the new one, the new movie.
And then when you were so excited to look at it, I said, "Oh, I should have bought 2." So what I did.
Oh no.
Where did I put it? Oh no, it's over there.
Oh.
Did I put it over there?
Oh, there was supposedly a toy under my chair when I moved
Yes,
it.
that was the one I wanted
Oh,
to. Yeah, that was me bringing you a Utahraptor.
Oh, from the new
Jurassic World, because I know. Thank you.
Yes.
Danny, thank you very much.
Yeah.
He's the best. Like I told you from day one. So here is your own Jurassic
Oh,
World
great.
Utahraptor.
And it's in the package.
Yes.
Yeah, I have the Diabloceratops, was
Okay.
another dinosaur they did one of that I've named.
Yeah.
But, of course, they've had Utahraptor toys since the first movie.
Yes. But
There's a one for the first one, there's one for Lost World. They just go on and on. They've never donated 2 cents to this work out here.
so you're
But
blast,
you know how much money they've made off of these things?
Yeah.
I love it. It's feathered.
That's the
Good
main-
job.
yeah,
It's the evolution, and I've got one from the original movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was out of the box. I got it at a thrift store, but I was at a Comic-Con, doing a thing, and some guy comes up to me and goes, "You got an original," and it's like kind of beat up. I got it at a thrift store. He says, "That's worth well over $100." I said, "You know what? That would be worth in the box."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm glad to see Utahraptors, rising in funds. This
Yeah.
is probably a better investment than Bitcoins.
Apparently. So my whole my room in my house with all the toys, I must be like a millionaire, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of them.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I guess when you want people to know about you, Utah, what you're doing here.
Yeah, we're basically, we have the most complete record of the age of dinosaurs on land. There's marine sequences that are great, great stuff. But Utah has the longest, most continuous record of life on land through the entire Mesozoic. And it's remarkable. And fortunately, I have a boss that is like, we have got to move this forward, Jim, while you're still in this job.
Yeah.
I'm close to retirement, so I'm all for it.
Yeah. So you have grandkids, you want to enjoy that, right? Yeah.
That's everything, is think about our grandkids.
Yes.
Legacy, what do we want this world to be like?
Yeah. Well, like I said, anything you ever need me to do or say, message me, email me, I'll put it out there to my fans. Thank you
It
so
sounds
much.
great. Well, I love what you're doing, because we need folks in every city. I don't know if there's a Jurassic James in New York City.
Oh.
I know they have volunteers at the MAMH, but no one outreaching, as prominently as you have been in Houston.
Aggressively.
Yeah, well, that's what it takes, though. Chicago, Paul Sereno's done pretty good. Chicago, he's developed programs where he takes kids from the inner city out to digs in, Montana and South Dakota, and stuff that I really admire.
One of my goals, too.
Yeah, and this is a good place that maybe we're kind of far, but that's why I was telling you, maybe West Texas.
Yes.
There's sites that you might be able to do things there, or Central Texas, Dallas region, and things. But I think kids need the opportunity to see the real deal. Yeah. Be involved with it and see how science works, and see that it's fun.
Yeah.
Because it is. And there's, mineral wells. I was really proud to have had a little part in helping that get off the ground.
I take people there all the time.
I'm a big believer that the public needs to be a part of it. We don't need to rape these things out of the ground, because there's more to this long term than, just putting a bunch of rocks in your garage. But, what it does for getting kids interested in science and the public just to, see our yard, our neighborhoods, and this deep time history that's also there. It's like, I've worked in northern Mexico a lot, and drive through Nuevo Laredo and our sites around Saltillo and Monterey, and it's an incredible record in that whole region. People aren't aware of it. There's a great Cretaceous Tertiary boundary in Coahuila near Saltillo.
Really?
Really.
Oh, okay.
And it's, they've got a problem with the cartels, but, it's like that area, would be the place to start doing stuff with kids, is bring them into northern Mexico, because there's incredible stuff there. It's just, today maybe not the day to do it. But I love my friends down there, and, we need to, make these borders very much more transparent. With everyone, holding hands across them, as they say. But northern Mexico, you got incredible stuff, much closer than us.
Yeah. Still, just the idea of taking somewhere.
Yeah, it's not that far from Houston. You just cross over, zip down across to Laredo and over. Within an hour, you're in world-class dinosaur beds.
Wow.
Giant Paris Delta environment. Oh, ammonite, all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
Like right in the
I've named a few dinosaurs down there.
Yes. I think now they're going to
help build the Museum of the Desert in Saltillo.
They're going to start looking through the papers, and you're going to see your name, Kirkland. Oh, yeah, this guy. Yeah, so he's everywhere. He's ubiquitous. So.
I've worked a lot, though. I've had a very good relationship with Mexico for a long time. I got a lot of plaques on my walls from Mexico.
But you're very nice to everybody. Like you're very friendly and supportive.
Well, same with China. I don't go there to take their fossils.
Yeah.
I go there to learn.
Yeah. So, crazy idea.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's a different approach.
You should be strip mining, not learning from them and helping.
I need to take their dinosaurs and shove them into my own museum when there's plenty here for everyone.
Yeah, that's all right.
And international collaboration. I'm not against, a Japanese university getting a permit in the U.S. To work a site and bring it to a museum, a public museum, where people can research it. I'm not against that. It's never going to happen. I've been to meetings with people. Never will we let stuff go out of the country. But it's like, but then they buy stuff that people steal.
Yeah.
It's like, defang the illegal trade in some of this stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like, let's do things above board, with rules, and you've got to commit to 5 years of, proper scientific investigation that's going to be published, and I'll guarantee you, places like Japan, there are universities that would do a bang-up job.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yeah, why not? You know, because we have sites, you know, that are 2 kilometers long with thousands of dinosaurs that you could dig on for thousands of years. I mean, literally. You know, we got a site here in Utah that's, you know, I always tell people, think of Dinosaur National Monument, all those skeletons there, and they stretch it out 200 times.
Wow.
You know, just under the surface, just like right under that road.
Yeah.
You know, maybe 3 feet down. We're easy to get to for 2 kilometers, 200 times the length of Dinosaur National Monument. We got one site, and it's as rich, as many skeletons like that. It's just, you know, nuts. You could, you know, have 5 different, 6, 7, 10 different institutions working on that for hundreds of years. You know, doing good science takes a while.
You have to go to Africa, South America, come here to Utah.
Yeah, well, we got more. Chinese, I've given the Chinese Academy of Sciences two tours of Utah. And the first time the director of the Academy of Sciences couldn't make it the last minute. And when he heard all the reports, they paid to have me do another tour where you could be here. And they admitted that we have the best record of dinosaurs in the world. They have some incredible sites. The feather dinosaur sites are awesome. I've been to Liaoning 10 times. You know, I've done a lot of trips to China, and it's great stuff. But in terms of control of, you know, time and a more continuous sequence in one place, China's more complicated. You know, so the story is more patchy. Our record is more of a continuum. You know, it's a simpler story. But, you know, when the land bridge from Alaska comes out, you know, our whole late Cretaceous is interplay between Asia and Western North America.
Yeah.
And at this time, it's an interplay with Europe.
Yeah.
And a little bit higher, right above that ridge there, we're an island continent like Australia.
Yeah.
Everything is only North American stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can say the upper early Cretaceous is all American.
But then in the lake, we get Chinese exports, basically.
Yeah. We have stuff going to China. I think oviraptors originated here and went through Europe as Canaan aphids, and then developed as oviraptors over there. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's just, you know, our role in the world is not all stuff coming from elsewhere here.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, there's that attitude. It's like, oh, I mean, there's some pretty neat stuff that originated here.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you, Dr. Kirkland, so much. I appreciate you on so many levels.
I love what you're doing. Keep it up, because it's what it's all about. I mean, I wouldn't have a job if you weren't getting people interested in this stuff. I mean, it's the public. I work for the public. And part of my job is getting this to the public. And you're one of my mouthpieces.
I wish more people saw the world like you. Just the time I talked to you, I just wish more people in power just had your mentality. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Comment, questions to right below everything. And if there's anything for Dr. Kirkland, email me too.
Yeah, no problems.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
And for a few years still, jameskirkland@utah.gov.
I'm not sure if you understand
One word.
how big a deal that is. He just gave the email to the internet. But okay. That's the kind of guy he is. It's like, he's like, yeah, I don't care. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. I know but that's not. I know you're you, but for me on the outside, people are like, that's not a normal thing.
I mean,
you know that.
I mean, I was a 5-year-old saying I was going to do this. I'm doing this.
Yes.
I mean, if I ever think I am too good for anybody, I mean, I'm living my childhood dream.
Yeah.
You know, come on. I mean, I should be hugely grateful, and I am. Thank you.
So thank you again, the public. All right. That being said, see you guys later. Thank you.